Hi, and good morning, everyone. Today, I'm going to walk you through the activity for math in the intermediate packet for May 5th. This is kind of a complex activity with lots of parts. So that's why I think it's really important that I walk you through what to do. So let me show you the parts that you're going to need. The actual page that you are going to complete, you will need a writing utensil for, and it is page 18 in the math section. So page 18 in the packet. And we'll get to this in a minute, but you are going to watch a Brain Pop Junior video on plane shapes, and then you're going to review. So after watching the video, then you're going to review pages 16 and 17 in the packet. And those are both parts of shapes and then a review of the 2D flat shapes. Then you're going to complete page 18 and you're going to use, if you would like, the shape cutout that matches up to that shape on page 25. And you can keep using pages 16 and 17 to help you. Okay, so that's a lot of steps. I realize that, and we'll kind of go through it kind of little bit by little bit. So let me just show you what you're going to need. I'm going to zip down through everything and try to find it pretty quickly for you. Here we are. So you're going to need this page, and it just goes through. It says Geometry Chart 1 at the top, and it's just the parts of shapes. Okay. And it's going to use some really big words that you may not know the meaning of, but this tells you what they mean and it shows you a picture of what it is. And then this is Geometry Chart 2. It's for the 2D or the flat shapes, and it just goes through what each of them are and a description of them. Okay? And then you're going to complete this page. So it says that Chris shops for items in his garden, and it says to pick a shape and put it over the lattice panel. So you're going to have to think about what shape this is. And then you could use, on page 25, I provided some shapes for you if you want them. These shapes right here. There's 3 of them. You could cut out the shape that you need and put it on top of this shape if it helps you to understand what shape this is. Does that make sense? If you can tell what shape this is without putting the additional shape on top, you can skip that step. It's just to help you. If this is distracting to you and it's hard for you to figure out, what shape is this? Then you might want to do that next step by cutting out the shape on page 25. Okay? Okay, so those are the parts that you're going to need. Pages 16, 17, 18, and maybe the correct shape that matches. And you could cut them all out on page 25 and then find the shape that matches if that helps you. Okay? All right. So now, Brain Pop Junior. So go over there, go to that website, and log in using the ways I've explained before, either through free access and going to the free family access, or by clicking just log in and using our username and password from school, Wayne, MCE, and Pop, P-O-P. Clicking log in. And obviously we're doing math, so you're going to go to the math section.
Math.
Great job. And we're doing geometry, where you see the shapes.
Geometry.
And you're going to look for the video that says plane shapes. It's number 1, 2, 3.
Plane shapes.
You can click on that link, click on that picture. It it will bring up the video and you can push play, and Annie and Moby will give you some great background information or reignite that information, that background knowledge that you have about plane shapes, okay? So this is a great time to pause my video and watch that one, and then rejoin me to complete the activity for today. Good job. Okay, if you are rejoining me, you need this chart here, which goes over side, angle, parallel sides, vertex, that's kind of a funny word, face and edge. And we'll look at those in a minute. And those are just all the parts of a shape. Now this goes over what all of the different 2D or flat shapes are. So we have circle, square, rectangle, triangle, right triangle, and rhombus. And then these are the descriptive parts about that individual shape. So it gives you, like, for instance, a rectangle. It has 4 sides, two sets of equal sides, 2 sets of parallel sides, and 4 right angles. So when you go and look at the parts of the shape, this tells you what those are: the angle, the side. Okay, that's how those two charts work together. All right, this is the page that you are completing today. It says that Chris shops for items for his garden. So here is a lattice panel. So you can decide, you can use that shape from page 25 and put it over the lattice panel to help you know the shape. And there are 9 questions here, okay? The first one says, how many total sides? So you can look back at the geometry chart to figure out what a side is. And it says a side is one of the line segments that makes a flat shape. So this is a side right here from this point to this point. So how many total sides are there? And it gives you kind of a demonstration here. How many sides are there? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here, which number is 4? How many sides are there in this shape? 4.
4.
Great job. Now, it wants to know how many equal sides. So sides that are the same length. And it doesn't explain what an equal side here is. It just tells you what a side is. So an equal side, remember, is the same length. It's equal or the same, okay? So look at this shape. Also, if you're not sure, this is where you can find the descriptors. You can use chart 2. And if you find a shape that you think it is, you can read about it. For instance, I noticed that it kind of looks like this. So it says, what does it say about that?
sides.
Okay, so there's 4 sides. Are they all equal? Let's look and see. Does this shape compare to the shape on our paper? It looks like it to me. So, how many equal sides are there? What do you think? What's your answer? I think you're right. I think it's 4.
4.
So, if you want to pause the video and work through this activity on your own and then rejoin me to check your answers, that would be great. Or if you're very uncomfortable or uncertain about this activity and you just want to work through it with me, that's great too. Both are ways to learn. One is more of an assessment to see how much you can do on your own, and one is more of a working through and learning together. And I'm happy for you to do either. So you can choose to pause the video, answer the questions, which I'll read to you really quickly, or we can just work through together. If you pause, be sure to come back and check your answers. So the next question will be, how many sets of parallel sides are there? Remember, parallel sides are sides that are just parallel to each other. And let's see if our chart describes that. Parallel sides are sides that are always the same distance apart, and they're never going to touch even if they get longer. So even if this side gets longer and this side gets longer, they're never going to touch, and they're always the same distance apart. Okay? So it wants to know how many sets of parallel sides there are. How many angles are there? How many angles? An angle is a shape made when 2 or more sides or edges meet. So this is the angle. The next question is, how many acute angles? So we have different kinds of angles: an acute angle, an obtuse angle, and a right angle. So that's if you have to look and see an acute angle is going to be where the angle is kind of close together. An obtuse angle is where the angle is farther apart. And then a right angle is where it makes just a perfect square on the edge. You can see that little tiny square right there. And it doesn't go into a description of those angles, but you can look at those shapes and try to make a decision. And then the last question is, what is this shape? What is this shape? So use this chart to help you with those angle questions, okay? And the parallel sides right here. So if you want to work through it yourself, pause the video now and then come back and rejoin me. If you want to keep working with me, I'm going to keep working through it now. So how many sets of parallel sides? Well, remember, those are sides that are equal distance apart and they're never going to touch. And I see that there are 2 sets. There's a set here and there's a set here.
2.
Now the next question is, how many angles are there? So that would basically be where 2 lines meet. So here's a line, and here's a line. And this makes the angle. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 angles.
4.
Now, it asks how many acute angles, and those are going to be angles that are close together. There are no angles that are close together. Because I want you to look, actually, I'm going to put 0. Do you see how the angles are perfectly square? They just make that perfect little square in the corner. So there are, how many of those? 1, 2, 3, 4. Since there are 4 of those,
4.
there could be no obtuse angles and no acute angles.
0.
Now, the final question, and it's something you probably knew from the very beginning when we started. What is the shape? Is this a rectangle, a circle, or a square? Of course, it's a square.
Square.
I think the hardest things about this are understanding these angles. And I think that as we work through some other shapes, it will help you to understand what the differences in the angles are. Okay? So if you don't quite understand that today, it's okay. We will have an opportunity to work through some other shapes this week. Okay, I'm very proud of your hard work and perseverance on this activity. Lots of moving parts here. Good job, bears. See you tomorrow.